So, I mean, just by virtue of your job and what you've been doing for the last 30 years, I mean, you just, and I should say, I think you voted for Biden.
I'd like to see a matchup of those, call it the top 100 puppet masters on the Epstein client list.
Do you think there's some overlap?
Strong overlap. Strong overlap.
When are we going to see that list, do you think?
I don't know. It's mind-blowing that they've not tried to prosecute even one. Not even the worst offender on the Epstein client list. They've not even tried to prosecute even one. That's insane.
Well, because they have a lot of diabetic grandmothers who were outside the Capitol on January 6th. They're kind of occupied.
Yeah, I mean, they've put like, whatever, 500 or 600 January 6th protesters in prison.
Not afraid to go there.
Person on the Epstein client list.
Will that ever come out, do you think?
You know, I think part of why Kamala's getting so much support is that if Trump wins, that Epstein client list is going to become public.
Yes.
And some of those billionaires behind Kamala are terrified of that outcome.
Yeah. Do you think Reid Hoffman's uncomfortable?
Yes.
Yeah.
And Gates.
And Gates.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's a spicy meatball, my friends. How we doing tonight? You guys got to watch that full interview. I'm gonna do some clips of it tonight, but wow, what a banger. We got lots to talk about tonight. Hope you guys had a great weekend. Mine was pretty good until the Niners threw it away, so we're not going to talk about that. I got new swag though, birthday present. I like it. The black, it's sexy. Yeah, I said it. Anyways, Blue 5 #1, Mantan, DJ T, second in the house, DB, Rum Dog, Hero, Candace, what is going on? I'm doing great, thank you. Donna, Hobbs, Vince, what's going on? Big O Oscar, Silent G, Darren Collins, Mark Maddox, Stony Bones, So Now What, Being Pro, Big B, CJ Yukon, how many can I get? Agent Orange, Shogun, oh man, don't get me started on this Thursday. American Truther, first time voting red. He's bringing 2 brothers, oldest son, nephews. I love it. Pat Shagoya, Danielle, Cliff Duran, Cindy Lou, Scott Volkovich, Randy Albert, Troy Man, Frank Anastasio, DB. I'll talk. Rasmussen's paid by Republicans to make polls look better for them. That's completely, absolutely 100% false. I love Richard, but that's completely false. Robert, Randy Albert. Oh, I hope. Vince, oh man, sorry about your son. COVID left, asked the doctor for ivermectin. She looked at you like you third eye. Well, doctors are paid by Big Pharma and taught by Big Pharma. They don't know. Midnight Mermaid with the 5 memberships. Thank you, Midnight. I appreciate that. Who's in? KJB Floppy, Rob W, L Deuterino, and Boogie One. Welcome to the membership. With that, you now get extra content. I did a members live last night. Caught us all up because there's so much going on and getting ready for the week. So you guys can go check that out. It's only $3 a month. That's all I ask. And if you can't even afford that $3 a month, I get it. But please still like, share, subscribe. That's all I ask. Let's see. Hobbs. Sure, a lot of celebrities endorsing Kamala. Oh, you know it. You know they're afraid of that list. Rum Dog's voting twice now. Oh man, yeah. We got wild stuff tonight. Linda Telly, what's up? Damn it, Sean. Mike Mishler, Alan Krentz. Good to see you guys. Welcome everybody. It's a big party in here tonight, a Monday night party. Let me see. I'm sorry if you're watching Monday Night Football. I just don't need to watch the Chiefs win again. I'm getting tired of the Chiefs, so I'd much rather be hanging out with you guys, where we can talk. Listen, there's 29 days until the election. 29 days. That is less than every full month except stupid February and on a leap year. And it's coming fast. It's going to be here before we know it. But the signs so far are good. And I think lots of good stuff is coming. Jack Hamilton, better late than ever. You're in, buddy. What's the list? The Epstein list is what we're talking about. You guys, this here, I'm going to play a little more of this Elon clip because this is fantastic stuff from Elon. He's being very open right now. And this has got to be terrifying people. But he's flat out calling it. The billionaires are all in because they're scared of that Epstein list being released. And remember, Musk just spent, he was at the rally with Trump and Butler, where I heard upwards of 100,000 people total may have been there in some way, shape, or form. I showed the crowd last night. It is absolutely crazy how many people were there. And Elon's there. He's all in now. He says Trump is definitely releasing the Epstein list, and that's why so many billionaires are in. But let's listen to a little more of this as we get ready to go forward. This is interesting. Hold on, listen up, guys.
And I only ask that because you just look at them and you're like, that's a nervous person right there. I don't know. I mean, I assume you know them. Yeah.
Yes. Reid Hoffman was my vice president of business development at PayPal.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys know who Reid Hoffman is, but super duper crazy lib. He runs LinkedIn. So if you've ever wondered why LinkedIn sucks, and LinkedIn does suck. I hate LinkedIn. It's run by Reid Hoffman, who is pretty much everybody believes he's on that Epstein list and stuff. And anyways, he worked with Elon on PayPal, and that's why Elon's laughing about it.
24 years ago.
Does he seem nervous to you?
Yeah, I mean, he's terrified of a Trump victory.
Because of the disclosure that would follow?
I think, yeah, I mean, I think he's certainly ideologically not aligned with Trump anyway, but I think he is concerned about the Epstein situation. Like something might actually, the DOJ might actually move forward.
You hear that? He says the DOJ might actually move forward. In other words, Elon's basically saying that everybody already knows Reid Hoffman's on that list. He said Bill Gates earlier too, which we've already known that. Most of us who've been paying attention the last 5 years know that. But he's saying that the only difference is if Trump gets in now is that the DOJ will move on it. And Reid Hoffman's psycho about that, scared about that. And he also mentioned in the first clip that it is all the billionaires. He said this is why they're all supporting her, because they're terrified of that list. My God, I cannot. Get your popcorn ready, guys, because if Trump pulls this off, which he's going to, this next year, 2 years is going to be insane.
There are a lot of videos, apparently. Those rooms on the island, and I think out in New Mexico, were wired for video.
Right.
And
where's the video? I mean, between Diddy and Epstein, there's probably several thousand hours of footage here.
Yeah.
Between Diddy and Epstein, there's probably several thousand hours of footage, Elon says. You think Elon knows? I would say yes. Think about it. This man is the richest man in the world. He was in all the circles, all of them, whether it's Silicon Valley, whether it's Hollywood. He was celebrated by all of them. He knows everybody. He's been in and out. He's been celebrated by the left, and now he's a free speech hero. He somehow navigated all this without being corrupted himself. It probably doesn't hurt that he's got Asperger's or slightly autistic. It helped him probably stay detached from the temptation of everything and stay focused on the work. But yeah, he owns X. He's seen everything on X behind that. The scene, Raiden says the DMs. Yep. He knows all that. He knows, he knows Peter Thiel, who owns Palantir, which can basically track everything. I mean, these guys know all of it. And he says there's thousands of hours of footage. I mean, I'm telling you, like, it's getting very spicy. I don't think it's coincidence that Elon decides to do this interview the last month of October with Tucker Carlson, the biggest name in media. This is going to go everywhere. And October, it's getting fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird that the people on those videos are lecturing the rest of us about our moral failings, isn't it?
Yeah, it's weird.
I love Tucker. He's always got the best takes on this stuff. That they're lecturing us on morality. That's hilarious.
What is that?
Well, I mean, part of how they deflect attention from themselves is by...
Did you hear that? I've been saying this all the time. I said a lot on my live last night, but that's what they do. They deflect. They tell us what they're going to do. They condemn us, the people, or Trump for what they do. That's what they do. And Elon nails it right there.
Criticizing the morals of others.
Yes.
So it's sort of like a preemptive moral strike.
Yes.
I mean, as I said, I think those who are saying Trump is a threat to democracy are themselves actually the threat to democracy.
100%.
It feels like we're getting to a place where the rest of us know too much. Is this?
That's interesting. We're getting to a place where the rest of us know too much. Tucker was one of the first out there saying, like, he could see Trump getting assassinated, or at least one of the first public people saying it, along with like Alex Jones. But Tucker's more mainstream than Alex. So it's interesting that Tucker would say that. Many of us are getting to the place we know too much. It makes you wonder, how much are these guys, Elon, Tucker, all these other people out there, not saying because it's just not the right timing, it's too scary to, who knows? But I have a feeling one of the reasons they go all in on Trump now is because once they know this stuff, they know if Kamala wins, it's going to be very big trouble for all of these people as well. All these people that we've been following, that have done stuff for us, have exposed things. Elon especially will be public enemy number one on that list. They know it, and they're still going in. I mean, we're watching, in my opinion, guys, we're actually watching real courage in real time as these men sit and talk about this, and women like Nicole Shanahan are out there. Megyn Kelly has been on it lately. I don't know if you guys listen to her, but anyways, it's very interesting he said that, and it makes me wonder how many in this group are in that we know too much camp that Tucker's talking about.
Do you know what I mean? I mean, it's easier to live in a society where you don't really know what the people in charge are doing or why they're doing it. But now, thanks, I would say, largely to X.
Yeah.
I think that's fair to say that.
Yeah.
We do know a lot. Not everything, but we know a lot. And I wonder, where does that, like, what happens next now that we know all this? The kidnapper's shown us his face. Like, what happens?
Well, I think if Trump wins, we can do some house cleaning and shed light on things.
That's exciting. I don't know about you guys. I got chills a little bit right there. And I'm gonna show you guys tonight more examples and evidence that not only is it if Trump wins, but I'm feeling better every day that he's going to. And every day it's getting more and more clear to me, in my opinion, and what I think I'm really going to be right on this, that the election is actually not going to be the hard part. It's crazy leading up to it. There's a lot going on, but I feel very strongly that the election, he's going to win it handily. And then the craziness starts. That's what I really believe is about to. I think they're still trying to get her across that line. They're going to try to drag her across. They're going to throw everything they got to win this election. It's not even going to be close to enough. And then the craziness starts because they will go all out to destroy Trump and everything else that he could come into before he gets there, and also try to keep him out through other ways. So it's getting crazy. PayPal Mafia, that's absolutely right, Blue 5. The elite are evil. Alan says he's eating popcorn now. There you go. Benjamin, just curious, while I go back to our stocks after the election, I'll cover news, Benjamin, but I'm always going to cover what's most relevant at this point. The stock stuff, there's just not enough news. Ham and William are doing a wonderful job covering the stocks over and over again, going through the same story over and over. And it's just, honestly, I don't feel like I'm the best at making the predictions, analyzing stocks. So I'll do what I can when good news comes out, but I'm much more in my element here. But I will always do some stuff, Benjamin. But if it's not for you, if you don't like the political stuff, it's fine. You won't hurt my feelings if you want to move on. I get it. I'll miss you, but I do get it. So now apparently the attorney going after Diddy has received 12,000 calls from other victims. I heard that. The 12,000 calls. That's, basically it was getting out that they're offering money celebrities are offering to pay off people so they don't speak. So of course there's going to be a lot of calls coming in. There's a lot of attention seekers, but the hard part's going to be which ones are real and which not. That's what's always happens when something like this becomes public. And so this is why it really comes to the point where you have to sift through and wait for the real evidence and the people who report stuff with real evidence. Donna says, I'm hearing Trump wins, but Kamala will be elected president. Nope, it's not going to happen. I don't believe that at all. Technology, what's up? Only finger for me. It's like every other day. So now, Blue 5, that's saying the one that yells the loudest gets the most skeletons in the closet. That's a good point. Yeah, absolutely. Kathy, what's up? Rum Dog, we can get more than 41 likes. I believe it. We got this. Come on, guys. Hit the likes, and we'll get those up there. Get this video trending, because there's plenty to go through tonight. Candace says, Megyn Kelly and Glenn Beck are both amazing to watch. She's been in North Carolina helping. That's awesome. Honey Badger says, Megyn Kelly is still hot. Yeah, she is. In her 50s. She looks great. Why can't Trump release the list now? I think there's lots of reasons for that, KJB. I don't think it would be time. It would look like election interference. You gotta time these things right. And you want to be in charge of the DOJ when you release it. You really do. Also, he might not have the list on hand right now either. So that's possible. We need to control House and Senate. I agree, Hobbs. The Senate looks like a lock at this point. The Senate looks like a lock. It looks like 51 seats it's going to be almost impossible for the Republicans not to win at least 51 seats. And I think it'll be 53. But the House is kind of 50-50 area right now. But I think the Republicans pull it, especially if Trump wins the election the way I think he's going to. He'll lift up enough representatives to win the House. David says there's reports to lots of gas stations that are empty and cars being abandoned. Yeah, I heard. So, guys, my dogs are going crazy. I'm sorry. I heard. I was talking to a friend yesterday. He's ex-special forces, went up to help in the mountains, and he said there's as many as 2,500 still missing. So expect the death counts to go very high soon. It's pretty crazy. Shogun, popcorn, ice cream sounds good. Bonds did weird today. Yeah, bonds went way up and they reinverted. So we got yield curve is reinverted, which get ready. Yeah, there you go, Raiden. See, William and Ham for the stocks and Ace for the stir. Yep, and I'll still have Ham on every once in a while, and William. Hi, Badger. Plan orchestrated weather. Listen, right now we're in the stretch, the home stretch to the election. So there's going to be very little stock talk right now in this home stretch. Afterwards, we'll relax more and I'll start covering more stuff again. They wanted to turn Lahaina into a 15-minute C2. It's true. Yeah, exactly. Plan and orchestrate weather golf to get rid of Republican voters. Tampa's a planned 15 minutes. I don't know about the 15-minute city stuff, all that. I mean, I do believe they have plans for it. The thing is I don't understand the thinking of wiping out middle Florida like that. There's no way Florida's going blue even if they wipe that out. To me, I don't know. But I definitely do believe government is doing all this stuff. I really do. I believe the government is definitely, whether or not it's behind creating the hurricanes, it's definitely behind seeding them so they get worse, manipulating them to where they move, all that stuff. And my buddy, both my brother-in-law is currently Special Forces, and my friend is ex-Special Forces. He was telling me of this island in the Atlantic that's blurred. You can't see it on any maps or satellites, and there's always heat emanating from it every once in a while. And there's a belief, and it's not verified, but there's a belief that it's spewing out hot air and starting to create some of these cycles. I don't know how true that is or not, but it was very interesting. They did list the new hurricane as a Category 5. Yeah, I'm going to cover the hurricane towards the end because we're going to end in prayer over it. Rum Dog with the $41 donation. Thank you, Rum Dog. That's a little birthday gift. Thank you, man. Happy belated birthday. Sorry I was away from your computer last week. Get a steak or a couple DJT before it goes through. Thank you, Rum Dog. That's awesome, man. Everybody give a shout out to Rum Dog. I really appreciate that, man. You guys have been so generous with the birthday wishes. I really appreciate it. 15-minute city adventures. Shogun is basically a walled off city where everything is supposed to be within 15 minutes that you'd ever need, but you also can't really leave it. That's the long and short of it. Orlando's blue, so yeah, they'd be wiping that out too. Ken Griffin is in Florida. He's in Miami. Did I see the vid of the Black Hawk flying low over volunteer efforts with supplies on parking lot? Yes, I saw that and shared it. That is wild. That island is the aliens. All right, a little more based stuff from Elon real quick, and then we're going to move on to some more things. I'm going to go through a lot of the momentum in the election has significantly shifted towards Trump in the last week. And it is getting to the point where they are struggling to hide it, explain it, and they are getting very fearful. So we're going to go through that in a minute, but I want to share a little more of this Elon interview first because, again, Elon is in the know of stuff we can't even fathom yet. Again, somebody said it so perfectly. He took over X. He had access to everything, the DMs, every tweet, all that stuff. Elon knows, and that's not even counting everything he knows from his past, the people he knows who speak to him, all that stuff. And so with Elon, when he goes deep on this stuff, it's important to listen, especially now that he's gone full MAGA and been fully awakened. He's ready to change stuff. And one thing I'll say about Elon, even, there was times I think most of us had doubts. Some might still have doubts, but I'll say this. He's always shown that he actually loves children. He loves America. I mean, that's why I think he finally came over to the right side of things, the MAGA side of things. So let's go through this real quick though, because this is him breaking down what he thinks will happen if Kamala wins.
My view is that if Trump doesn't win this election, it's the last election we're going to have. The Democrats, the Dem machine, has been importing so many people, bringing in so many illegals, flying in with this like CBP border app thing that nobody even knew about, like secret program. That's illegal, basically. It's illegal, but there's no action by DOJ to actually to stop it from happening. They're transporting large numbers of illegals to swing states. If you look at the numbers, these are the numbers from the government website. So like from the Democrat-administered government websites. Like where do you get this data? From the government website that is run by Democrats.
In other words, they're not even hiding what they're trying to do. And that's his point right here.
And there are triple-digit increases in illegals to all the swing states. And in some cases, it's like 700% over the last 3 years. Now, these swing state margins are, sometimes 10, 20,000 votes. So what happens if you put, hundreds of thousands of people into each swing state? And when somebody is granted asylum, they are fast-tracked. They can get a green card, and then 5 years after the green card, they can get citizenship and they can fully legally vote. And when they do so, they vote overwhelmingly Democrat. And sometimes I get this rebuttal of like, well, a lot of them, their social values don't align with sort of the far left sort of woke ideology. Yeah. I said that's true, but that's not their top priority. Their top priority is getting their friends and family also to the United States. And the Dems also issue all these programs, these sort of handouts, essentially, that make them beholden to the Democratic Party.
Yeah, and that's an important point, is that he said it right there. Their values might not be Democrat, and we're seeing this with many Hispanics who've now been here for 5, 10, 20 years. They are no longer voting Democrat. In fact, Trump is getting close to 50% in many areas with Hispanics, especially Hispanic men are starting to trend Republican. But what it does is it buys them blue votes for a period of time, 5, 10, 20 years. And that's because they all are relying upon the Democrats to keep ushering them in. But this is only one facet of how they're going to steal our elections going forward. But that means all these illegals that have been coming in the last 2 years, he just explained the process. They're in the process of getting green cards, and then within 5 years, they'll be able to vote. Now, that's if the process still holds. What he's not saying, and what I believe would happen, is that they'd fast track it. They do an amnesty bill, maybe even do a presidential executive order, something like that to fast track it. But one way or the other, he's absolutely right. They're bringing in all those votes, but that's not even the half of it. Another thing is interesting is he's actually going to talk about California in a minute. So I'll let him speak on it, but we've seen it happen before, and California is the example.
So they vote down. That's what happens. So my prediction is if there's another 4 years of a Dem administration, they will legalize so many illegals that are there that the next election, there won't be any swing states. And we'll be a single party country, just like California is a single party state. It's a supermajority Dem state in California.
Because of immigration.
Yes. California was fairly reliably Republican.
Bill Clinton lost California in 92 and won West Virginia.
This is very true. So real quick, and that's, by the way, that's crazy what Tucker just said. Can you believe that? Just 32 years ago, Bill Clinton, Democrat, won West Virginia but lost California. That was only 32 years ago, guys. I lived in California at that time. We weren't very blue yet. We were kind of weird, but we weren't very blue yet. California was very Republican for a very long time, and that all changed starting in 94.
Yes. So there was a 1986 amnesty.
Yes.
Thereafter, California trended very strongly Dem, and is at this point, I think, 65-70% Dem, something like that. It's supermajority Dem. The California legislature is more than 2/3 Democrat.
So what Elon didn't say there is that in 94, the California people voted against any benefits, anything for illegals, and by overwhelming, almost 60% margin. And no voting, no benefits, anything. And they voted for that, the people did, and then a judge overturned that law and said, a California judge overturned it. And that's when it started going all out blue, California. And that's what Kamala is going to do, along with all this other stuff. So, guys, we lose this, which we're not going to. And the reason I believe we're not going to, again, is we see men like this going all out. Elon Musk is putting his whole life on the line here. You think they're going to let him not go to prison, not take everything from him if they win this election again? Like, what's going to happen when they shut down all the free speech stuff? I mean, remember the purging that happened when Biden first got in? All the YouTube channels that were deleted, all the stuff that was going on even before Biden got in by the deep state peeps. That's going to be amplified 10, 20 times. I guarantee you I probably won't have my channel anymore if Kamala wins once she gets in. They're going to purge. They're going to do another purge. But people like this who are deemed actual threats to society, what's going to happen with them? That's where it's going to get crazy. And the fact he's going all in tells me, A, they care enough to put themselves out there, but B, it gives me confidence we're going to pull this off. And I'm not going to play this next clip too much, but this is the kind of stuff we get excited for, though. Elon says when he gets in, he'll cut 80% of the federal government. So you have the Epstein list going to be released when Trump gets in, which, Elon's out there touting. Trump's already agreed to that, and he did on the Lex Friedman podcast. But now you have Trump. Trump said he's going to put him in charge of government efficiency, and Elon says he's up to cutting up to 80% of the federal government. He says, do we really need 428 federal agencies? I think we should be able to get away with 99. That's all their money, all their laundered money, all their control, all of it. In 4 years, guys, I'm telling you, we could have, even if he accomplishes 25% of this. If he accomplishes that, we'll see so much prosperity in our nation as the government's rolled back, so much cutting in their corruption. It's going to be absolutely glorious. Henry Alcott says, based on yard signs, Kamala will finish third behind Trump in garage sale. Yeah, there's this guy running in North Carolina. His name's Mark Harris, and his signs are blue and red with a big old Harris on it. And so my son was telling me the other day, he's like, Dad, I'm starting to see all these Kamala Harris signs. And I was like, really? I hadn't seen any. That's strange. He's like, yeah, they're popping up all around the school. And he's like, I don't know. It's kind of scary. It's like, I wonder if North Carolina is starting to want to vote for Kamala. I was like, oh man. I was like, I don't think so, but maybe it's just a couple of pockets. But so I'm driving him to school, and I'm like, hey man, why don't you show me where those Kamala Harris signs are? We'll drive by. I just want to see what the area is, because I don't see any of them ever. And he's like, this way. And so we go down, and it's all Mark Harris. And I was like, hey buddy, you saw the Harris, but you didn't read the first part. And he just started laughing. He's like, oh, there really is no Kamala signs. And so, it feels good to know that. And we're swing state North Carolina, guys. I'm telling you, we're going red for sure. Ever Trumper, someone said a poll came out that had Kamala at 16. There's no way in freaking hell any poll could have her up 16 in the national. Maybe in a state somewhere, but even that I kind of doubt. Randy says private security around Elon's likely better than Secret Service provides candidates. I'm sure. Cindy Lou, why would I laugh after the comment of the Black Hawk helicopter? I didn't laugh about what the helicopter did. It is sick that they did that. I said I laughed because I was like, yeah, I saw it. Just an acknowledgement. That's funny. Somebody brought it up when I literally shared it probably 10 minutes ago. Rum Dog. You've often thought since China's been messing with India's monsoons, they could easily be heating the waters out in the Atlantic, creating much more humidity, adding to our hurricanes. It's very possible. Yeah, I believe it. The thing is, there's a lot of stuff I hear, because I am a conspiracy guy. At this point, if you're not awake. But the problem is that you can go too far and too deep and chase big old rabbit trails. And you got to be careful about that. So I hear stuff like island in Atlantic that spews out hot air that could create hurricanes. And I'm like, yeah, that could be true. I could believe that because that makes sense. The word is plausible. It's completely plausible in my opinion, but I don't know enough to say I completely believe it. So that's how I think about it. U.S. needs to get out of the UN. I agree. The UN needs to end. David says, Mayorkas said FEMA did have enough money for more hurricanes. Now Kamala and crew are blaming Trump for spreading fake news about FEMA, trying to hammer Trump. It's not working. None of it's working. It's because people are suffering and it's on their watch. So none of it will work. None of these attacks on Trump about FEMA will work. Even if Trump 4 years ago completely defunded FEMA, sent them all off on vacation permanently, and had video of him stepping up on their desks and taking dumps on them, it wouldn't matter because they've had 3.5 years to rehire, recreate FEMA, refund it. Anything they try to blame on Trump about FEMA is nonsense, and I've seen them trying to do it, but yeah, there's no way. Steve Bernard, thank you, Steve. I appreciate that. Rum Dog, if I had a Dominion voting system shortly after Pelosi took office, no wonder California's blue. 100%. California, I'm telling you, I live there, guys. I spent most of my life there. For most of my first 30 years were in California. California is not a blue state. It is a blue pockets, major pockets. LA, super blue. San Francisco, super blue. The rest of the state is either purple or very red. The valley, the mountains, super red. Super red. So, and even if you go below LA and you get to the San Diego and stuff, it's mostly red. California is a pretty red state, but it has been co-opted by corruption, fraud, and then all the illegals and immigrants that built, they all packed into the cities, and they made those cities so dark blue they're able to control a lot. That's how it works. Saw a video about Tupac being interesting. Gonna move to Thailand if Trump don't get it. I mean, I might be following you. Haven't seen any Kamala signs, but there's blue 5. Yeah, every Trump is not believable. Elon be using those robots as company making as guards, like the ABC Warriors from Demolition Man. That's funny. That was an IQ poll. Harris has a solid 16. Oh, that's funny. They may mail in Kamala votes for missing NC people. I mean, yeah, that's the kind of horrible stuff that you don't even want to think about, but it's always possible. Big B seconds that. He's lived in California his whole life. See, yeah, California's not that crazy. It's just the government gets away with murder, literally and figuratively. Honey Badger, there's floatable microwave generators that can tow out into deep waters to generate hot water vapor, manipulate weather. Also ones on U.S. Navy trips. Okay, I didn't know that, Honey Badger. Huntington Beach over the 4th of July with Trump signs. I know, Jeffrey. Yeah, Huntington Beach is pretty red. Okay, let me show you some more stuff here, guys, about just how bad it's getting for Kamala. And it's getting bad. She is at the point now where I'm honestly, you got to be careful because you can never be 100%. But if this election is even remotely winnable, which we all know it is, it's tough because they have the cheating on their side, but it is winnable. We're still in the place where it's winnable. And if it's even remotely winnable, I'm telling you, with the polls that are coming out now that are manipulated against Trump, remember that. When I say the polls, I'm not talking about the actual numbers. I'm talking about the trends. And it's getting to the point where there's no way Kamala can win this election without a significant shift in the actual voters. It is beyond the cheat at this point. It's beyond the cheat at this point. And let me show you what I mean here. So Polymarket, which is the biggest betting site for this election, has already swung back to 8 points up towards Trump. Okay, and that's just in the last week. Now, why? Who knows? But this is Dennis Neal, reporter. But this shift is huge because Kamala was up 3 just a week ago. So the bettors are already saying, oh my God, everything we're seeing is trending that way. That is a huge lead, 8 points, because they're putting their money where their mouth is. Okay, and the money is more reliable than the polls. But here's the crazy thing: Polymarket is manipulated as well, which makes it even more bullish. And I'll get back to that in a minute. Here we go. I don't know if you guys listen to Rich Baris, People's Pundit. You must, if you have any desire to understand the polling more, to understand how it all works, to understand the trends behind the scenes, and really hear what's going on. His show, he does it 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and he's on between 12 and 2. He goes live on YouTube and Rumble. It's fantastic. It is the best analysis you will get on this stuff, bar none. He is fantastic, and he has been calling out stuff left and right, especially on these trends of how bullish they're getting for Trump and how it's starting to really get separation. It's at the point where, like, it was very close. Kamala was trending, but Trump was still winning based on the prior election data of how much the misses would be, but even when Kamala was at her strongest. But now it's getting to the point where Trump's starting to pull away. And that, my friends, has never happened before in October when Trump's been winning. So in 3 elections, we've never seen Trump this strong before. So this guy posts, John Kasich said on Andrea Mitchell's show, Trump is going to lose 15% of Republicans, and I'd like to know when he had a stroke. Great tweet. And Baris calls him out, says Kasich said the same thing verbatim in 2016, that Trump would lose 15. John Kasich, I don't know if you guys remember who he is. He was Speaker of the House for a while. No, he wasn't. I'm getting mixed in with Boehner. Anyways, he Republican guy. He's a moron. Okay, moron rhino, and so he called this out in 2016 that Trump would lose 15% of Republicans. Obviously, Trump won that election. Says Tiny Boner from Target Fart hilariously claimed his research revealed more than 2 in 10 GOP early voters in Florida voted for Hillary Clinton. So he claimed in 2016, 20% of Republican voters voted for Clinton. And he writes, in so many ways, 2024 is 2016 on steroids. What Baris is saying right here is that all these pundits are out there with their data, with what they're saying, and they are going all in to the nth degree on the lies, on the manipulation of the media and their polling, saying that 2016 was bad, 2024 is worse. And amazingly, even though Trump lost 2020, the polls were worse in 2020, believe it or not. And so those polls were way off, overestimated Biden more in 2020 than the polls overestimated Hillary in 2016. And Trump won 2016 when they were closer. The miss was worse in 2020, even though he somehow pulled that one off, quote unquote. But 2024, what Rich is seeing, and he's been saying this now for months, is he thinks the polling miss is going to be even worse. Well, what happens if the polling miss is worse in 2020 than 2020 this year, and the election is closer than Trump's ever been in the polls? That means landslide, folks. That means landslide. And if it's landslide territory, if Trump is winning this election by 5 to 10 points, which I believe he is, they cannot cheat enough. They cannot cheat enough, especially not with all the voter registration trending Republican. Look at this. This is mind-blowing. In 2020, New York 17 was Biden plus 10. It's currently Trump plus 1. This, my friends, a precinct in New York has swung 9 points to Trump since 2020. New York. If New York is swinging 9 points to Trump, that means every moderate Republican, every state that's not hardcore red, that is moderate Republican, and every state that's center blue is flipping to Trump from anywhere to from 3 to 10 points. This is a bellwether right here. This is ringing out in the dark saying, pay attention to me. Things are swinging here fast. That is shocking, guys. Shocking. 10 to plus 1. That's an 11-point swing. Absolutely insane. That, I mean, not saying he's going to win New York, because he lost New York by, I think, 25, 30 points. So that's not enough to win New York. But if these plus 10 deep places, which are center blue, are going that way, watch out, guys. Watch out. Panic inside the Harris campaign is palpable at this point. If this race is tied in the final 4 weeks, Trump's going to win. What could even happen at this point to shift the momentum back to Harris? This is YouGov. YouGov and Yahoo. Leftist poll. They do not like to trend Trump. I don't think they've put out a Trump ahead poll since Biden left the race, which everybody knew Biden left the race, and they had reasons to want to push him out. So they come out today. Their last poll 3 weeks ago, Harris plus 4. They have them tied now. Guys, this is not a poll that is favorable to the red. It's just not. If they are struggling to make it even look close, there's a lot of things they could do here. This could be Trump 52 to Harris 47 with 1% undecided. They could have just, but they weighted it in a way to bring it down. This could be, 55, 45. You don't know what it's going to be, but I'll tell you one thing. This poll always weights blue. And the fact they can't get it above this, that tells me they can't. They're saying to themselves, the only way they can't get this worse than this is they're saying, if we manipulate the data anymore, we can't even call it a poll. And so that's they're stuck. This is fascinating, guys. And this is one of those that sends Kamala Harris and her crew into freak out mode. Oh my God, YouGov? We lost YouGov? What is happening? This means the internal polls must be getting really bad. I would not be shocked if Trump is up 5 in the internal polls. And guys, Harris has to win, even with cheating. She has to get 4.5 to 5% to win, to get what she needs, because the Electoral College protects Trump. It's much more favorable to Trump. So that means she might be 10 points behind where she needs to be at this point. You can't come back from that. You just can't. Blue 5 says, I saw the shift when I was in California, clean beaches and a beach bum every so often. When I left, it was homeless camping on the beaches and stabbings. Yeah, unfortunately, that's very true. Polymarket now is Trump up 10. Wow, okay. Rum Dog, they need to get rid of the one party takes all electoral votes. Half of California is disillusioned. Yeah, I know. That gets tricky, though. That gets tricky when you split up the electoral votes of a state. It can get, I don't know. I don't know if I like that. I mean, I get why you're saying that. But I don't know, because it can go the other way, too, down the road. Mad Max says, border has done so much damage due to corrupt power. We need to ban the border. Nobody from anywhere can receive permanent visa. Yeah, at least for a time until we get everything back in order, right? John Kasich, the Liz Cheney of Ohio. That's right. He's the former Ohio governor. That's where I got him mixed up. He ran for president, right? Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Kasich and Boehner. Lazy. Early night if New York goes Trump. Oh, man. If New York goes Trump, it's... Are you kidding me? It's over so fast. Yeah. Hogan says most polls have Harris up. They do, but it's not about them having her up. It's by how much. And I'm telling you again, it's not the numbers themselves. It's the trends. Let me go do one of my favorite things to do, because right now it's extremely notable where we're at. I'm going to pull up the Real Clear aggregate, because this is the most accurate in the last 2 elections, and I think even further than that, it's been the most accurate indicator of who's going to win the election or where the polls end up when the final counts are tallied. Even with corruption, this has been the most accurate, is by pulling this aggregate from Real Clear Politics. And so this is where she is right now, guys. And this is stunning. So the aggregate, all the polls together, you would have Harris at plus 2.1 right now. And you say, well, that's kind of close to that 4.5 she needs. No, it's not, because this is not where it's going to end up on election day. Guys, in 2016, last time Trump won handily, Hillary was at 4.7 at the same point. Harris is behind Clinton by almost 3 points now. That's 2.6 points. That is a huge loss. Trump got 306 electoral votes in this. And I'm telling you right now, Trump won this election handily, but Clinton, they did have a steal in place. They did. They didn't pull it off the same way this guy did, but look at the polling difference too. Biden's final number when everything was counted was like plus 4.3, plus 4.4, somewhere in there. So this was overstatement of 4 points. Clinton's ended up at 0.2 something or somewhere in there. But the point is this: she's 6.5 points behind where Biden was, and almost 3 behind where Clinton was. It's unwinnable at this point for her. It's completely unwinnable. So this is what I'm talking about. These are the trends. And I'm telling you right now, if the polls hold right here, even with them cheating, even with a steal, even with rigging, if this is where her poll numbers are right now, Trump will actually win the popular vote. I'm just going to say it right now. And that means landslide in the Electoral College. Thomas Zukovich says, I'm sending your MMTLP shares back to the broker. Never mailed them to AST. Okay. I mean, I hope MMTLP totally, wins for you guys. Big B, it'd be an early night if the election was honest. If it was honest, the election, it would be over in like 2008 fast. We'd know who was president within like an hour and a half. Yep, it'd be so fast. Vince, you heard NASA uses the most helium, uses it to move satellites. Interesting. Ever Trump destruction of North Carolina, Dem response to it, destroying Kamala in several states. I agree with that. Yes. Why does the Electoral College favor Trump? Well, that's a great question. The Electoral College is designed to prevent pure mob rule. So it's designed to prevent somebody from being able to buy votes at like 51%, and also it's designed to keep all the states have a slightly more equal say. It protects some states having different needs than others. Trump has a let's look at a map here so I can go over it real quick. So right now, where we're at in America is that the Electoral College is mostly red. Most of the states are red. There's actually very few true blue states. Even Wisconsin, I would not say is a true blue state, even though there's a blue governor. It's like they're like old school Democrats. They're common sense Democrats, but they're working people. So they're going to, like, that's why he won Wisconsin in 2016 and almost won again in 2020. It's not a true blue state. The true blue states are, and I'm not changing this for the, sorry guys, I got to, where's the create my own map option? Because I want to break this down for you guys. All right, so I'm going to just change this map just to show you guys the actual true blue states, okay? This is not a true blue state. And I guess Virginia is like light blue. Jersey would be light blue. So there's really only few states they can almost always count on to be blue. The West Coast, California, Oregon, Washington, is locked in. Just lock it. They done so much over the years to become blue. It's become the liberal fantasy land. That's locked in. All right. But as soon as you get inland, it starts getting, when you get to people who still work with their hands for a living, it becomes very red very fast. Less college educated, which means less propagandized, less need to impress people with your intellect and be part of a crowd, more independence. You become red very fast. Colorado became blue under Obama and hasn't looked back. Some of that's due to corruption. They did other stuff like bring in a bunch of illegals. They legalized pot. But Colorado was red for a very long time. New Mexico is a weird one. New Mexico is actually not like true blue. It's more a toss-up. But it's weird. I don't understand why New Mexico has been voting blue. Hawaii is hardcore blue. Why? Because it's a giant welfare state, and the only other thing, all the money that comes into Hawaii is welfare and tourist dollars, and that's it. All the people, well, not all the people. Most of the people who live here, though, the regular people, are on welfare or barely getting by. It's tourism. So it's a stomping ground for the rich to come play and leave, and everybody else there is struggling, and that makes you blue. And then Minnesota became really blue after 72 because of unions. It stayed like one of the biggest union states. Illinois, completely blue, all because of Chicago. Chicago runs that place, and it has been one of the most corrupt states for a very long time, thanks to the mob. And the mob still runs Chicago. They're just much quieter about it, and it's all like Democrat mob. They play dirty in Chicago. That's where Obama's from. They are filthy there. But true blue state. And then you have New York, and then you have these smaller ones. But when you have all of those together, okay, you have 217 kind of locked in. And, and that can switch. Like Virginia actually can go red. You can convince it to go red. So we'll move that to toss up, especially with a Trump, because right now Virginia is 100% a toss up. So even remove that. This is where you're locked in. All right. Now let's go to the true red states. Arizona, we'll just put toss up. You have all of these, and got to put Georgia toss up just because it went blue last time, even though I don't truly believe that. and then Pennsylvania. And everything else, let me just double check here. Yeah, it looks red. So this is where Trump's bottom is, 235. It's pretty much near impossible for him to go below that. So that is the electoral advantage. Trump's already got the one up. The other part of that advantage now is that all of these states, especially this one, and this one, Pennsylvania, right now, they all mostly want to vote red these days, especially since Trump. Okay, since 2016, they want to vote red. There's a reason why these were the 3 states that had the most fraud. Okay, because they're right on the middle, but they really trend red, especially Georgia and Arizona, and that puts Trump at a win right there. But take away Pennsylvania, okay, Trump's still almost there. And look at all these toss-ups that could easily... New Hampshire has a Republican governor. It's not too hard for it to go red. Nevada is becoming more and more red by the day because of the service industry, the no tax on tips, how hard it got hit because of COVID. So you get those two, and you get Trump to 270 easy right there. And so you see how Trump has so many avenues to victory, because all these states much more want to go. Like, that's one way he could go red. It's another one would just be add Virginia to all those. Another one just add Wisconsin. I mean, we could take this away, take New Hampshire away, and just add Wisconsin. I mean, 272. So that's why he has an electoral advantage. That's why. And that's why you have these big populated states, California, Illinois, New York, 3 of the most populous states. Minnesota is the most populous of all these up here. Colorado is the most populous of all of these right here. So you have these highly populated states, and that's why if they go super deep blue, a Democrat can win the popular vote and easily lose the Electoral College because the populations in these blue centers are so deep. And what are these places all about now? Well, there's like no middle class in California. There's barely a middle class in Oregon and Washington. Colorado and Minnesota have the most middle class probably out of these two. Illinois would be right there, but Illinois, again, controlled by the mob. New York is not much middle class there. So you got these blue states are all like rich people who are basically dominating the poor people and getting the poor people on welfare. And then once they went blue, George Soros got all their secretaries of states in so that he could control the elections. I mean, that's a fact. That's that's been going on since Obama years. So anyways, does that explain the Electoral College well enough for you guys? I hope that answers that. All right, let me get to a couple more news stuff here that's just showing you how far, how strong this is getting for Trump. Here's the latest on New Hampshire. New Hampshire was very blue in 2020 and it's trying to come back to being Republican. Trump is at the point where now New Hampshire, he's within 2. If he's within 2, guys, it's probably swinging that towards Trump. And we're getting closer and closer to seeing that epic red map that I talked about the other day is possible, where Trump could get 360 at the top, which is just a wild thought. Midnight, calling it early tonight. You're welcome. Have a great night. Thanks for stopping by. What's up, Ryan? Good to see you, man. We got to talk. Brett, what were we saying earlier about Trump having a rally in Coachella, but be about 150,000 people? What? I ain't heard that. Yeah, there is a lot of Trump supporters in California. I agree. Cindy Lou, have a good night. Let's see here. Everett Trumper, colleges give every state representation, so few big population centers don't call. Oh, the Electoral College. That's absolutely right. Yeah. Without fraud, there are 0 blue states. Everett Trumper, I would say that with Trump, that's believable. It's actually believable. It's like, there's 2 Republican presidents who won every state but one in the modern era. That's Nixon, who lost. What did he lose? Was it? No, he won Minnesota. He lost one state. Was it Massachusetts? Something like that. I can't remember what it was. He lost one state, and then Reagan lost Minnesota. That's it. They both won 49 states. Nixon 72, Reagan 84. So yeah, is it plausible that we could have 50 red states? Yeah, it is. Without fraud, it is. When you get a guy like Trump, who's a populist and a conservative populist, Americans tend to like that. Americans, for the most part, want government out of their lives. They want the ability to make a lot of money. They want the ability to buy a home and be left alone and raise a family. That's what most Americans want, and go on vacation every once in a while. And if you can give Americans that, they'll vote for you. The overwhelming majority will. Drew, it makes you mad when people continue. I'm sorry, man. I can't understand your sentence you wrote there. What's up, AC? Yeah, the interviews have been terrible for us. James Flowers says, the Constitution's pure genius. Not only did the framers produce a document to protect the rights of citizens, they told us how we could F it up. That's true. How much will the hurricanes affect the election of the states? I think it's actually going to be much more minimal than people think. I really do. Yeah, Maine could go red. It could, Alan. I could see that, even though it splits. Brett, you're hoping Trump and Elon can figure out some way to export. Come on. We'll see. Hogan, how many paths to victory does Kamala have? Well, she'd have to win basically all the Rust Belt states, which is Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Michigan, and then she'd have to pull off. She'd have to keep Virginia blue, and she doesn't have a lot of roads. She really doesn't. There's a couple states that if she loses, it's pretty much over. Like if she loses Michigan, guys, it's over. If she loses Pennsylvania, it's pretty much over. So she doesn't have a lot of areas. Was that South Dakota, Alan? Ever Trumper, don't remember what Sununu recently said something positive about Trump. Wow, well, that's a big step forward. He is not a nice Republican. McGovern was South Dakota's senator. Oh, okay, but he didn't lose South Dakota. There's no way he would have lost South Dakota. McGovern won Massachusetts. Okay, I never count Washington D.C. They've never voted red, but it's not a state, Okay, here's what I was telling you about with the polymarket stuff. So, he says a forecast that has Trump now up 10. Somebody said was Harris +4 2 weeks ago, and then Rich Baris says it's also manipulated by Democratic dark money. Everyone knows it. Even the company knows. It's frankly astonishing these markets are this favorable to Trump. In other words, the fact that Polymarket is even plus 10 now to Trump is shocking, because a lot of that money is Democratic dark money trying to influence that market. So you take that out, Polymarket would probably be +15, +20 Trump. Isn't that a wild thought? Here we have the real data, which is really important. The party registration switches. This is people switching from one party to another. 2.5 to 1 towards Republicans. So Republicans are gaining Democrats 2.5 times the rate Democrats are gaining Republicans switching. Highest I can recall, says Seth Keshel, who's an election data expert. That is wild. Pennsylvania is getting redder and redder by the minute, guys. It's very exciting. Here is my buddy Harry. You guys know I love Dorky Harry, my favorite leftist pollster who can't help himself. He's always got to deliver the bad news because he likes numbers more than his party. Here's the latest from him.
What if the polls are off? There have been previous elections, of course, where that's happened. What if that happens?
What happens if the polls are slightly off? Remember, back in 2020, the polls underestimated Donald Trump. So what happens if we have a similar error across those key battleground states? Well, if that happens again, look at this. Donald Trump carries all of these Great Lake battleground states. He carries Nevada as well. Of course, he carries Arizona, Georgia, and North Carolina. And he gets to get this. 312 electoral votes. So the bottom line is, if we have an error like we did 4 years ago, Donald Trump is going to win this election. Kamala Harris is going to lose.
What if the polls
You guys hear that from
off?
Harry? if we have an error the same as 2020, Trump wins with 312. That's Harry Hinton on CNN. That's him telling them, guys, we're screwed. Because they are definitely having an error like 2020. I'm telling you right now, it might even be worse. So, and meanwhile, all this is going on. Kamala's draining, and now everybody's starting to wonder, is Biden sabotaging her? Stephen Miller is a great fall, says, if you don't think Biden's vindictive enough to sabotage Harris, Clooney, Pelosi, and Obama, people had their arms around him a month before that debate, then you haven't paid attention to his entire political career. Here's the question. Is Biden sabotaging Harris? On Friday, 2 minutes after she walked on stage at a campaign event in Detroit, Joe Biden decided to do something he's never done as president. He walked in the White House press briefing room. He took all the attention away from her. And then the other day he said, like, she's been making a lot of decisions for me. She's trying to distance herself from him. So that is a question. You know, he put on that Trump hat. Did they piss Biden off so much that he's trying to tank her campaign? I mean, who knows? He's definitely not helping. Pretty interesting. Roll Tide, congrats to Vandy. Yeah, Vandy beat Alabama. That was wild. Edward Trump says, never convinced me that this many millions of people are voting against their own welfare and self-interest. Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of people voting because they just want that government money and they believe the Democrat lies. Or they like the celebrities. There are still people caught up in celebrity, believe it or not. But I agree with you that it's not nearly as much as we're told to believe. Hogan says, why is populism portrayed as being so evil? Well, one of the reasons is because history books are written by governments who have controlled people, and they are scared of populism every single time. That is one of the reasons populism is labeled as evil, because the elites are scared of it, because populism means the people are rising up. The other reason is there are examples where populism has been used to do terrible things, to whip the people up into a tizzy and get people to do horrible things. I mean, Hitler was a populist in many ways. He was also a fascist tyrant socialist, but he used a lot of populist ideas to get into trouble. So or get into power. So that's why populism is, it's not always good. It's not always good. Coachella Trump rally would create a massive amount of traffic. Yeah, it would. Imagine the coverage on that. Henry says, keep trying to follow the polls, keeps taking you back to money. Yeah, that's very true. This is Biden's best work while he's leaving office. I agree with that. Mike, I do see your comment. You said there's no blue states, only blue cities, which I 100% agree with. Jim, I wonder who's leading in the Russia-Ukraine polls for U.S. president. I could guess Russia. Diddy backs Harris. Oh, that's bad. Brett, the site they have for Coachella Trump rally looks like someplace they had with like Woodstock back in the day. Really? All right, I'll have to look that up and maybe share it tomorrow. Have I seen anything about Boise State? No, I haven't. But that's crazy stats. 16 touchdowns already. Tokram monitoring the hurricane. Yeah, we're going to get to the hurricane, then I'm going to pray and get out of here because my brother-in-law just showed up and I want to go see him. If Trump wins, ABC, CNN, NBC should be banned or rotate every 3 days. Yeah, good luck with that. Well, but, they might be forced to tell the truth a little bit. So, all right, let's end on this hurricane here just because that's not a hurricane. Her hair is, though. This is getting scary, and we really need to pray for these people and that this does. Because this is supposed to hit in 2 days. And who knows what else is coming this October. So, just to be a little, sober on all this is that, do I think Trump's going to win? Yes. Am I excited? Yes. Do I see the reading the tea leaves look good? Yes. But they are not going to go without a fight. And that fight means people are going to get hurt. People are going to lose money and maybe their lives. There's going to be all kinds of terrible things that could happen. So we need to be praying like crazy. A, that we get this win and we can get our country back. B, that there's as little damage as possible to make it happen. This is now at a category 5, guys. Largest evacuation order since 2017. The storm was hitting 180 miles per hour, making it the 3rd strongest in Atlantic history already. this storm is an absolute monster. And we really need to be praying that it's significantly downgrades before it hits. We just do not want this to do the kind of damage it's already looking like it could, because it's really scary. It is really scary, and especially because resources already being used up to take care of the damage from the last one. So, anyways, Category 5 could be the third biggest storm ever to hit Florida. It's hitting at the perfect point where it could seriously hit big time, do the most damage. So anyways, let's just end and pray about this and everything else. And then I'll see you guys again tomorrow night. So did he bring beer? I don't know. I'll find out in a minute. Alice says, last Friday when Biden showed up at a press conference, wasn't Harris supposed to break the Teamsters tentative agreement? I don't know. That's interesting. If so, that'd be hilarious. Is it going to hit Disney? I do believe Orlando will be there. So, all right, but let's, the eye is very tiny with low. It is not normal. You're absolutely right, Toe Cramp. No, guys, I'm telling you, I don't believe in coincidences. There's something more going on here that's very sinister. And you can take that for whatever you want it to mean. But the main thing is God's bigger than whatever is going on, whatever's being used against us. So we can, we got to believe that prayer works here and as much as possible. So, all right. So I'm going to end in a prayer. So Heavenly Father, we thank you, God, for all you've been doing. We thank you for all the signs that are pointing in good directions, Lord. And we just need to win this battle, and we can win it if we show up. But I pray in the meantime, Lord, that especially that in the cleanup of North Carolina, Georgia, Tennessee, and Florida, God, you just help people recover. And I just pray that all the rescue efforts really start yielding more fruit. And God, that they're just actually more and more people get discovered before they're lost forever. And God, we pray about this hurricane coming, this Milton, that you would just supernaturally, God, downgrade it. Just, God, I ask that you put your hands on it and shift it down, Lord, so that when it hits, finally, it's not nearly as damaging as it could have been, and that people are safe. I pray for no death. I pray for as little damage as possible. And God, that anything the enemy wants to use for evil, that you can use for good. And that's what I want, pray out of this. So, and then this next 4 weeks heading up to the elections, we know crazy stuff's happening. I pray protection over our nation, over its people. And God, that just the corrupt would be continually weeded out, and more, God, they would be outed, so that by the time the election comes, it would be just such an overwhelming win that it's clear we're going to change our country, and the people are ready to do what it takes to get this thing back on track fast. And just bless everybody here, especially Thomas Dubois I didn't see tonight. Bless his health. Bless Jenny and Mike and anybody else who needs it. And just thank you for this community, and thank you for what you're doing. And we partner with it and just pray we can get this done and really set up the future to be better than ever. In Jesus' name, amen. All right. Love you guys. Bless you. Have a great night, and I will see you all tomorrow.